On a scale of 1 to 10, how single are you, Cheryl?
Well, let's see what we're going to do in our life in 2025. But as we record this podcast right now, things will change. And to God.
What is your scale?
Let's just say -5.
Like the journey of trying to find your partner, right, doesn't start from looking for a partner. It starts from discovering yourself.
I don't believe in dating apps.
Oh, you. It's not you. It's not you. It's him. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode on Back by the Word. And today is a bit of a mix. It's funny, it's interesting, it's insightful. Actually, quite insightful on this side. But you know what? I remain your favorite host on this podcast, Nigerian Francis. Woo! I need to get to a point where I stop screaming woo. I want to hear you all say it. Let's make it the goal for 2026. Maybe 2026 will come out there and meet with you all, right? But today, Nigerian Francis is seated here in this studio with, on my left-hand side. This is my left, right? Yeah, my left-hand side.
Jeffta. Hi guys.
And on my right,
Sure.
have you ever had a nickname before?
Actually, yeah, but because I didn't like it, I killed it.
You killed it.
Yes, I've had many nicknames. If you remember in high school was Omoba.
Why were you called Omoba?
I don't know. You have to ask those that gave me. And in uni, some people started to call me Shadow because I'm dark skin.
Hey, melanin, yeah?
Yeah.
I see. What about you, Jeffta?
I've had quite a couple of nicknames as well. So most of them were from times like when I was very active and playing football. So I grew up in a football academy.
Oh.
Yeah. So the first was
like you were born on the pitch.
I played football too.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So was kind of thinking I'd go pro and stuff, but that never happened. Yeah. So the first was Cisco. So there was a Spanish football player named Cisco. So it was like.
So I thought it was, you know the song?
Yeah. It always gets mixed up. Yeah, so Cisco, and then there was like Tino. Tino was like, Cisco, Tino. So just like football names.
Okay. So lovely. I'd have thought Tino would have been from Valentino.
No, it was from Jeffta, Jeff Tino.
Wow. I see. But not Valentino.
No,
But Valentino it's kind of sort of a romantic name.
Yeah, that's a lover boy. That's for you, man. Yeah.
Well, for me.
Yeah, we'll leave that to you, bro.
Am I a lover boy? I'm not gonna lie though. Well, today we're talking about something. We want to address this, right? So on my left, Jetta here is representing the single men out there, right? But a niche of single men, and we're gonna get to that. Shemu is representing another niche of single men, right? But we're gonna identify the niche soon, right? With the first question I'm gonna ask. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let it rip.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how single are you, Cheryl?
Well, I mean,
it's not a trick question.
Well, I mean, like the thing is, like, what determines the scale? That's the question.
Huh?
Like, what determines the scale?
This
Like,
was not
Exactly. So is single as in single versus married, or is like single versus relationship versus married? Like, what determines the scale?
Are you in a relationship? Because I know you're not married, so let's leave marriage out of this, right?
Right.
How single are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean,
Leave words, focus on numbers.
Talking stage will be like 5.
Talking stage 5.
Yeah.
if you're about to leave the single market, 9,
Nine, that kind of thing.
8. If you're about to leave the single market,
8.
8.
Yeah.
But if you're just starting, like,
If you're just at 9, you never read 10.
No, if you're just starting, if you're just starting a relationship or just starting talking, which one?
but if you're just starting talking stage,
Oh,
That's
talking
like
stage.
2 now.
That's 2. That's 2.
if you're not talking
Every
to
human
anybody-
being is 2.
okay, everybody doing, are you sure?
I know some people are minus.
So, well, let's see what we're going to do in our life in 2025. But as we record this podcast right now, because things will change. And to God.
What is your scale?
Let's just say -5.
So What is -5, please?
-5 is if you said 2 is you're in talking stage, then I don't talk to anybody. So now I do -5.
And there's no one talking to you.
I would not even be aware.
Wow.
Okay, let's come over to Jefta. We'll come back to you. What about you?
I'll keep it between a 4 and a 5. You know,
4 and a 5.
4 and a 5.
What was the scale again? What's 5? 5 is talking stage.
Yeah, 5
is
is
talking
5.
So
is,
what's 4?
So like I mean,
You know, like
like talking stage can be like you're talking to like 1 or 2 persons, 3 persons, like you're trying like
and
you
then
just see,
and then maybe at some point you lock
now,
in.
yeah,
lock into
exactly.
one,
So you're looking to see, okay, I'm focusing on
Is
this.
that what you man do?
I don't know what you're talking
Talk-
I
about.
don't know what you're talking about, but we're just talking about, listen, we're talking about social intelligence right there, bro.
Okay. I
Yeah.
see. So I'd say Jefta here is representing the single men in talking stages, talking to about 2 or 3 people.
I didn't say
making
I didn't
decisions.
say that. That didn't you get that from me?
No. Like we said, 2. Like number 2 is talking to that man. Like you're still sieving through.
Yeah.
And then 5 is when you locked in with someone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for a talking stage.
stage,
So you're talking to one person,
Person,
right?
Yeah, so
Trying to seal it.
I'm like literally quite, locked in, like,
Yeah.
just almost locked in right now, yeah.
Yo, you're almost locked in.
Almost locked in, bro.
Calm.
Yeah.
What about you? So Shehu now -5 means
Let's now it's too far
no
down.
love.
So let's do like -2.
But no, you said -5.
Let's
So is that -5?
let's change it to like -2. So that's not too.
Yeah.
Let's not chase the sisters away. Sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So -2. And -2 represents, because I mean everyone has a base level, right?
Yeah.
Of 2.
Yeah.
Everyone in this life, everyone is talking to
So right now he's gone beyond the base level. If you use that minus.
So now you're not talking to anyone
That has
at
to be
all.
really bad. Are you divorced?
No.
Okay,
there you go.
so my question to you then would be, do you see being single as a choice or something beyond your control?
So I'll say like it's mainly been a choice for myself. There are many decisions that I have made from when I was young that brought me up to this point, right? Which is, like I said, it's a decision I took. So I don't think it's a like I had to just like I found myself in this position. Like I decided to be single. I don't want to go into too much details now because I'm sure you have other questions.
Go into too much detail.
Right. Okay. So you see, like when I don't know, like everyone is different, like how they get influenced to start dating, right? Like for some people, you decide to not date anybody or be in a toxic situationship or whatnot because you're trying to lock in, right? Like you're trying to like focus on achieving set goals that you have for yourself. So in your head, they're like, you know what, you don't want any distractions at this time. So like, but in life, there's always something that you need to lock in on, if that makes sense, right? So like over time, you're like, you know what, I'll try again next time. Like once I get this, I'll try again next time. Like so for me, it was like uni. I'm like, okay, this is a new scene. Like I can't like fly over here like the way I just had fun in high school, because like in high school, what really matters is your final GCE or GCSE final exams that you do, right? But like in uni, it's like you go like lock in and like determine what your life has to be. So like I decided to like do that for myself, and then I had to then start working, and I was working in consulting. I had to like I didn't have time to be dating anybody because like I had to work like crazy hours, right? So it's like it's just been one thing after the other.
So basically, you haven't really had the time.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. Like, so I've decided to like, I'll just be like, let me just focus on this. As it were. Don't get me wrong, right? Like, just like we determined the scale at the beginning, where we're like, I've been at a 2, I've been at a 4, along those lines, but something might just be like, you know what, it's probably just working either from my end or from the person's end, and I'm like, you know what, let's just go back to focusing on the game,
Yeah.
That's been it. It's been a decision.
Well, I mean, I hear it, because a lot of times, I think my issue then is, how do you then draw a balance to this? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, say for example, you're single, but you're talking to someone now, right?
Yeah.
And you've obviously made bad decisions back then. You're obviously hustling. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? So, what then brought you to the point where you said, you know what, I'm gonna lock in on this particular person?
Oh yeah. I think I really feel what Sean said earlier, because I mean I'm also like coming from there, right? So at some point for me, it was just everything, like you said, just because you've been made to see sometimes relationship with like the opposite sex as a distraction, right? That's kind of like women would always be there, that kind of thing, right? So just do your thing, women would always be there. So it's like I don't want this right now. So it was time for me getting to the university. I was like, I don't want to date anybody. I just want to like bang, bang, bang through school, make
Did you date in university?
man, make a first class, come out, like just get a job. Like I had this, and I wanted to, like, I told myself like getting into school, I didn't want to look for a job for one day. I mean, and this is people have their different goals, but like right even when I was in school, I was already applying and stuff, right? So I literally got my first job offer on my convocation day, right? So I went home to my family 2 weeks later. I resumed. So I had all these goals, I needed to make a good grade, I needed to do all of these things, and so it wasn't just me and like my friends. Like it was just that thing. Like yeah, we weren't even seeing the chicks per se, right? So, but post university, then you realize that there's always something to lock in on, right? And then I had to say to myself one day, and that hasn't been a long time, kind of just very recently to say, hey, you know what? If marriage or who you marry, as you hear, is one of the biggest decisions you would make, then why do we not take it as serious as we take getting a job? You know what I mean? The level of intentionality. Sometimes years from school, you're already like planning for the job you would get, but we don't plan that way for the person we would be with. We just like when relationship happens, it happens, and that kind of thing, right? And so I just started thinking I needed to be a lot more intentional about. And there was this thing we kind of feel as men that it increases our masculinity in some sense when we say, I don't really care about relationship right now and stuff, right? But I mean, that's just like false masculinity. You should care, right? If you care about your hard work right now, then you should care about relationship.
I mean, we need women, isn't it?
We do, to be honest, right?
I mean, we need a woman.
No, wait, no. Like, we need women, right? We
Is
need
that
women.
we
As guys, we need women. So you're correct. Like, so it's that thing, right? So you just have to like take it as intentional as you would take every other thing, right? Because if this person is going to be like the custodian of your home, the mother of your kids, and all of that, I mean, I believe that that's what most guys want. Then there should be like you know the job you're looking for, the pay range, you're so accurate with those things, but when it comes to what you want in a woman, you don't even know, right? It's kind of like everything goes like kind of thing. So for me, that intentionality became a thing for me, and then I started like talking to people actively. And to be honest, like when you're looking for jobs as well, right? What do? You apply to a lot of jobs, and like then you start looking it, right? Like I mean, for real, like you know what I mean? So it's like talk to people, and I don't mean like date a lot of people, but like talk to people, right? Socially, and then over time you're able to say, okay, I realize that this is what I want, and I can tell you one thing for sure. I mean, I had a relationship a couple of years ago, and then came out of it and didn't have a relationship for a while before I started talking to people. And what I realized over time was that, guess what? Before I started dating, what I thought I wanted, or what I wanted, wasn't what I needed. And that was a realization I only came to when I was talking to people. And so, well, you were asking like, why, what influenced my decision to lock in, the person I'm looking in right now. It's just because I realized that why a lot of things that this person has today isn't what I thought I wanted by the books, but I'm realizing that what he has is what I actually need.
What you actually need.
Right. And I think maturity is being able to differentiate between the both of them.
No,
boys go for what they want. I believe men go for what they need.
That's a very good shout. Like, I mean, like, the funny thing they say about like those who are single give the best relationship advice.
That's a job, man.
No, it's not a job. Like people say that, but it's true. Like
I mean, he's giving a good advice. He's giving a good advice.
No, I'm not actually even trying to say that. I was literally trying to agree with
this is not fair at all,
no, I swear, I'm actually trying to agree with the last thing you said. I didn't even mean that as a shade. Like, so because I was about to say something, like to agree with that, like with respect to like, like there is a fine line between wants and needs, and like that can blind your eye. Like I always say this thing, right? It's like the way marriages were ordained by God, like it's about opposite attracting, right? Like it's like when you're trying to build something with Lego bricks, you can't the same facing sides can't lock in together, right? It has to be like the two opposite ends that lock in. If you're trying to strike a match, like you can't light a match with two matchsticks, like it's not gonna light. You go,
Fair point.
do you understand? Like so,
you basically need someone that can feed in
exactly.
What you're lacking,
do you understand what you're lacking in? Like so to come together to then create a very well-oiled machine. Like which is your marriage. You can create so many things together. Like I mean, the Bible said it like if one chases 1,000, two chase 10,000. So if you're two people locked in together, I kid you not, bro. Like go and check anybody's life story, any successful man today, right? Like it's based on the fact that he has a successful woman behind him, like a brilliant woman behind him. So like it's what you need as a person to think about. Like you see like billionaires like Otedola, Igez, I'm sorry, Ahmad Rabiu, like these people you don't know, you might not see their wives in public, but like before they take a step, their wife is like, let's try to do this. Like, why don't we do it this way? So like you have like sometimes it's like the woman is the strategist, while the guy is the executionist. Or sometimes it's the other way around. Like Florence Alakija, sorry. Her husband, like he's smart, right? But we don't just see him outside, right? Because she's the executioner. Like she has that drive and vibe to like just get things done. Do you understand? Like so as a person, like when you're thinking about it, like most guys would just be like, you know what, I'm just looking for what I want. I want a girl that is fine, like that, can complement my this thing. I'm dark skin. She's like, do you understand? So like that kind of vibe. So like I do agree with like Jeff 100%.
I think with this, I want to say to you all that I support what Shion said, and let me tell you what I support. I support that single people give the best relationship advice, because I'm listening to you now and I'm like, if you know all this, why are you single?
No, I mean, like,
why are you single? But now that leads me to my next question, right? Because maybe you're single because you've not seen that person that has what you're lacking, isn't it?
Aye.
Right? Or maybe you've seen the person and you're taking your time.
Aye.
So for you, how long do you need to find that person? Like say if you start talking to someone now, how long do you need to find that person? Well, like to know that okay, this is the person.
I mean, see, for me, from now to eternity, like because I think especially within our generation, what most people miss out on the fact is that, especially when we're Christians. Sorry, I'm adding too many things as I go on, but as Christians, like that marriage is forever. Right? It's not something that you just pick somebody based on how you're feeling in that moment. So like for me, I've always wanted to think about the whole picture, like the now, the future, the tomorrow. Because one of the you said that's before I say something else, I think I'm giving good advice. Like
now feel free.
So like I'm trying to say like, but like the point is like I mean yes I know all these things, like how long do I think it could take or what am I looking for? I'm looking for like I'm taking my time because like I know that it's not just for a fleeting moment, right? It's like permit me to say this, but love is not enough. Do you understand? Like I love somebody is not enough to say I want to date this person, I want to like marry this person. Like love is not enough. Like you need to think beyond that. Like why do you think like most marriages don't work successfully? Like so marriages don't work successfully because they were only based on the foundation of like passion, love, and like how long can passion last for? Do you understand? Like you need those other important like building blocks or important pillars that if the foundation or if not the foundation, but like if the other parts of the building are shaking, right? Like the foundation stays solid, like it's locked in. So like for me, I'm just looking out for all those things, right? And like I said, like once I'm trying to focus on achieving something, like I just like
I guess being a man of purpose, you're also waiting for God's timing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean you can say that 100%, like because like I heard this thing one time from a pastor. He said, like people pray that God, is this person going to be my wife, this person my wife, this person my husband, like that kind of thing. But God never answers, like because what God doesn't want is for you to not come back and say, God, see the wife you gave me, she's the problem, like this kind of thing. Like so, like what? So when you say what waiting for God's timing, yes, I 100% put my belief in God's timing. But like that God will tell me this is the person you marry. Like based on the teaching I've heard, like I don't think that's the case. But God can give. I can pray for God to give me the wisdom and grace to lead me to that.
I mean,
person.
I think when I say God's timing, I feel like it's like when you know it's time. Do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like not when you're using it as an excuse, as to say this is why it's not time. Do you get? There are also things whereby by spiritual leading, right? You know, okay, this is the season you're in, and once you get to a point, then you know, okay, this is the time. But also, like, you know, leading on what you said, right? There's also the what would I call it? There's also the part where, so like you mentioned that God does not want you to come back and say, oh, this is that. But take a look at the Bible. How many people did God tell, this is your wife? Do you get? People in the Bible married naturally. I see you, you're this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? They married naturally. But I think what is happening now in our generation is that a lot of people are seeking the experiences of other people. So someone comes out and says, God told me this is my husband, right? Now, I'm not undermining the possibility of that.
Yeah.
But now, what is happening is that a lot of people are now waiting. Okay, God told this person, so God should tell me that this is my husband, this is my wife. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But people married naturally and they had good marriages. You get, so a lot of people are trying to, you know, as humans, we love results. So you've heard this is what worked for this person, and you believe that this is what should also work for you, right?
Yeah.
But Jefta, what I want to know is like, how do you then reconcile the idea of God's timing and the fear of waiting too long?
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good question. I think I just like, also start from like what Sean is saying. I'd say what Sean said. I'd say this like the journey of trying to find your partner, right, doesn't start from looking for a partner. It starts from discovering yourself, right? So in the book of Genesis, when God paraded the animals in front of Adam, and Adam saw Eve, right, and Adam said, "This is the flesh of my flesh, this is bone of my bone." It means that he knows who he is, and he recognizes something in Eve, right, that aligns with who he is. So it's hard to recognize something in someone that aligns with who you are if you don't know who you are to begin with.
100%.
Right? That can only happen because Adam knew himself and knew that something in the lion did not align with who he is. Something in the goat did not align with who he is. But immediately he saw Eve. It's like, okay, this is the bone of my bone. This is the flesh of my flesh. So when is God's timing? I'll say God's timing is when you are ready. Right? And that being ready is when you are also ready from a perspective of your journey with God, your personal journey with God. There are daughters of God that are ready. It is you that is not ready. Do you understand me?
Nah,
you're the one that's not ready.
Why is he laughing?
No, I'm not talking to you directly. No, I'm not talking to him. I'm just like, it's a conversation.
No, it's a safe space.
It's a safe space. I'm about to say, like, you said it's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
So there are people at different levels of their journey, with God. And if you are at that point where you have increased your capacity to the point where you can carry someone, right? Like, and when I mean carry someone, it is carry someone so you can cover them when they are weak. So you can be their strength when they are weak. For example, if you've not been at the point in your, let's say, your walk, even spiritually, for example, where you can pray for yourself, how do you want to pray for a partner? If you're not at the point where financially you can provide for yourself, then how do you want to provide for a partner? So it's about your capacity, increasing your capacity to the point where you can not just only cover for you, but you can cover for an extra person, or you can cover for a family. Then you're ready, I would say. And when you also talk about prayer, right? I believe that as Christians, we carry the Holy Spirit in us, right? And so as we go out, for example, when you wake up on a normal day, there are a lot of days that, like, of course, you've prayed normally and all, but you're not praying about going out or where you're going to, like you're going to the office normally. You just go to the office, right? And the Holy Spirit doesn't say anything. But if there was danger on the road, for example, you would likely get a check in your spirit to say there is danger, or just something happens and where that danger is averted. So, for example, it's also very possible that if you see someone you like and you pray about them, right, and there is nothing for the Holy Spirit to alert you about, then God is quiet and you have peace in your spirit. And that's a confirmation that you need. God loves you so much. I mean, we have to understand that God loves you enough to want to protect you if there is something to harm you, right? So when you pray as a Christian and there is peace in your spirit, that's a confirmation in itself. And the final thing I want to say on that is this: marriage is for men, not for boys. A lot of people are dating boys and looking for men in them. And a lot of men are dating girls and looking for women in them. The Bible says he that finds a wife finds a good thing, not a girl. A wife is a wife. You find her and you make her your wife. But someone doesn't become a wife. Does that make sense?
No, 100%.
So someone doesn't become a wife when you start dating or when you get married. Like a wife is a wife. The Bible says he that finds a wife.
That's a good thing.
You're a wife. You're a wife. So yeah. So back to what I'm saying. Everything I'm saying is like, it starts from knowing yourself, like being at that point where this is who I am, this is where God has brought me to in my journey, this is where I am with God, and so you know what you're looking for, right? If you're trying to make up 100, then you should know whether you're at a 40 or a 60 or an 80, so you know what can make up the 100.
I think it's so beautiful that you said this, because you see this self-discovery thing, like understanding who you are, even especially understanding who you are in Christ, right? Like, you should be able to look at yourself and say, this person cannot be with me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you understand?
No, 100%.
I don't see this person.
And it doesn't make them bad people.
It doesn't make them bad people.
Exactly.
Like, you understand what I'm saying? We are all unique in our own ways, right? In our own ways. God has created or shaped us in our own ways. But like, because I guess some people, like,
my brother leave the accent for door. The level we won't enter like you know carry English.
You know the guy wanted to you think they pay that?
No, here's the thing, here's the thing.
Yeah.
And let me put this there.
All right.
That I'm not in any way talking about physical attributes. I'll just put it there. But there are times when you as a guy, when your guy will tell you, this is the person I'm dating. Like now I have a friend here who will tell me, shout out to you. As you're listening, you know it's you. Like, he tells me everything. This is what I'm about to do, this is what I'm about to do. But anything he doesn't tell me, he knows why he didn't tell me. He will tell me after he has done it. So it's like, this is the lady I want to date. But anytime he tells me this is the lady I'm dating, I know that he himself, he knows why. And why it's quite sad is because a lot of times we do this for benefits of the world. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, you profess love to a woman because you want sexual benefits, for example. So you now find yourself in a relationship with someone that both of you don't match, both of you don't tally, both of you don't align, right? But because you want to gain something from this person, right, you then profess love, like emotions to this person, right? And then you're not helping yourself, you're not helping the person. Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it happens a lot. So like when you mentioned that, I was like, wow, like this is actually true. Like, you need to actually know yourself and then look at the person whom you're trying to date. Like, say for example, you know your personality, you know your traits, you know a personality in a woman that you know you cannot work with, right? I almost dropped a tip about my own self, but no, let me not say it. Let me not say
Drop
it.
it.
I mean,
Drop
you understand,
it.
like, I was about to say like
I wanted to say something about my personality, but at the same time, I feel like it's going to be to my own disadvantage.
I feel
It's going to be to my own disadvantage. Like,
ladies, check in with him to find out the personality, okay? Just reach out to him personally.
The ladies out there know me. So
the ladies know you. The ladies know you. Okay.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. And I think now talking about knowing yourself, right? What would you then say? And either of you can answer this, right? Whoever is ready to answer. But when you look back, right? When you look back, like, what would you say being single has taught you about yourself that being in a relationship may not have taught you this?
That's a very good question. Like, what has being single taught me? Um, I'll say
Because
like,
I've taught you a lot now. Because
yeah,
you've been on my phone on my
shut your
two.
mouth. Yeah, I mean, it has taught me self sufficiency, self reliance. To be fair, to sound not to sound funny, but being single has taught me that I'm actually quite selfless. Like I know the other ones I was just trying to play, but that's what taught me to know that I'm actually quite selfless. Because you see, like most people would rather or only do stuff for people that they love or like they're in a relationship with. Like some people are not friends that you could call on and be like, you know what, bro, like I need you to come through for me for this P, for that P, like they only do it for their loved ones. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But like being single made me realize that I'm actually a selfless person. Like I'm not looking to get anything from you. Like I'm not trying to date you or anything. Like we're just friends because we're friends. Like because like I just want to help you for the I don't know how to do goodness of my heart. Like so I'll say like being single has taught me that. Um, funny enough, right? I don't want to say this so like it doesn't like shout as a red flag, but basically has taught me that I don't have a commitment issue, right? Because when someone hears how long I've been single for, thank you for not asking that question, by the way. They would think that probably
Why
this
is he
guy
thanking
has
me?
this probably this guy has like a commitment issue or whatnot. But like during my journey of being single, right, like I realized that I actually don't have commitment issues, right? So I see those are like two.
So how long
main
have you been
things.
single?
I decline to answer. Containing my fifth amendment
I plead the
right.
fifth.
I plead the fifth.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So when you think, Jetta, let me put this to you. So like, when you then think of the idea of being enough for someone, what does that mean to you? And has being single changed your perspective of being enough for someone?
Yeah. Um, and that's a really good question. That's a packed question, man. I think I would go back to the place of like one, man, identity is such a big deal. You just have to know yourself, man. See, like there are people you would never be enough for. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Like, and it will drain you out. Like,
Everybody.
like I had a relationship, that ended, and I think I learned so much in that like from that relationship, not in it like that I probably could never have learned just being single. Just didn't go well and everything. And the truth is, there are people that you would never be enough for. And when he talks about the idea of like self-sufficiency, contentment, I think, in a way, that shouldn't also be mistaked with like pride, right? And not thinking that you need to improve yourself. But there are I've sat down with someone and it was just a conversation, and the conversation went in the direction of like, how much someone she's going to be with has to pay her, you know, like monthly.
Pay.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Like,
Right.
pay for your services.
No, just pay as a boyfriend, right? And
Salary,
right?
subscription.
And then there are guys out there, right? A lot of guys out there do this, and this is no shame on anyone and stuff. But like, I mean, to be honest, I could pay that cash easily, right? Like from my earnings and stuff monthly, like no issues. But will I would never.
When you're big, you're big.
Like that's not who I am, right? Like there's nothing that would make me. I don't care who you. I don't care how beautiful you are. I would never pay you a monthly salary as a girlfriend. It's not anywhere in my identity. Like I don't care who you are. I would never do that. Right. So can we like if you maybe you're out of a job or something, and can we work on an allowance, how to help you, stuff like that. But like to pay you because like, and to be honest, the amount she mentioned, I don't even send to my sister monthly. No, you get what I'm saying, because I had to like do some benchmarks, right? Like my mom, like I know the amount I send home, give my parents and stuff. I don't give them that amount.
sorry, after this show, let me give you my account number. Let's add to that payroll.
So it's like I don't do this to them. So and what I thought in that instance was, if her brother told her that he was paying this amount to another lady, does that make sense? Like, who was his girlfriend but wasn't sending
How would you
anything like
feel?
that home? How would you feel about it? I just so that's like an example I just gave, right? But I think it's just realizing who you are, what your limits are, what your boundaries are, what you can and cannot do, and then find someone that aligns with that and someone that you're enough for. Because there are people that, believe me, whether you like, if you like, you can try your absolute best. See, even if you do everything and kill yourself on your deathbed, you will still not be enough for them.
I mean, but I don't think you're of the same opinion, Cheryl.
With this?
Yeah.
Wait, which aspect?
You
Like
pay
paying
your-
them salary.
Okay, wait. Let's actually see this. Why not change your perspective? Don't see it as a payment. See it as support.
Yeah, like, is she in an orphanage?
Is she motherless, baby?
I don't understand the context of the support. Like,
see it as support. It's not easy to maintain business.
I mean, if you're my girlfriend, right, or my partner, and you said, oh, you want to start a business and you get capital and stuff, that's different, right? Let's work that out.
Yeah.
Right. How much capital do you need? How much have you gotten? How much do you have on your own? How much do you need to support you with? Like, is it money I'm giving you? Is it a loan is it a loan I'm giving you that you have to pay back? Stuff like that, right? Because that's a deal breaker. If I give you a loan, you don't pay back. Yeah, stuff like that. So we can work that out. That's different, and that also shows me that, like, you're enterprising. I mean, it's fine that you don't have money, you don't have the capital to do a business deal or something, or you need the money for support. Let's say you lost your job or something. That's understandable, but like salary, bro, come on.
Okay. Well, I want to touch on something else, right? So I want to talk about this thing that's. Let me describe the symbol. It's like this. It's a H.
Oh, dating apps. Hinge.
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 Oh,
Oh,
give me a second.
You think it's a good. You don't listen.
Yeah, because I don't.
But I mean, you have a profile there. Come on.
She don't want to.
Oh, yeah, just
I see what you say. In be -2.
So I just want to know, like, dating apps, would you say they're like a blessing to our generation, or would you say it's a curse to our generation, or would you just say, man, it's just not for you? Like, for me, it's not for me.
It's so
I personally don't have the time to have those conversations, right? But what would you say is for you?
I mean, for me, I said this. I said it to someone asked me a question about like setting me up with someone, right? And I made a statement, and sadly, everyone heard me when that happened. So it was a weird thing for a guy to say. I don't believe in dating apps, right? It's like I think like my friend did an intervention for me when they came to visit me one time. No, not crusade, not that kind of like I'm using the term intervention just because of the fact they like, wait, why are you still single? Like, wait, don't you have like the dating apps and stuff? I'm like, no, like why? So they picked my phone, set it up and all that kind of stuff. Like, but I never went there to check it. Like, I never did anything with it.
Did you ever use Facebook back in the days?
Yeah, obviously, like in high school, but I never used that for that.
dating,
Like, no. So if I'm answering your question personally, right, I feel like it doesn't work for me because I like to meet people in the traditional way. Like we've been talking about like self-discovery is very important, but I've always been of the opinion that like I need to build before I can even get to like a comfortable state of like dating someone or thinking of this person that way. I need to first see them from the light of being my friend, right? So like that's why
start somewhere.
yeah, that's it. Like you start from somewhere, yes, but like I don't want to go into another tangent, but like that is like beneficial for me.
Yeah.
But if I meet someone on a dating app, like I don't know your history. Like I like to know like the history. Like
they put it there in their profile.
No, they don't put it. I don't think they put their
I've been
history.
divorced twice.
No, I mean bro, that's not even the history I'm talking about. I mean, like your proper history, like where you been, where you coming from, like who knows you, like, because like that's the thing that people don't think about when
When
they're
they show
dating.
me trust, they don't show me.
No, come on, I don't know.
I don't.
How would I know?
Now nobody knows.
But I don't think they do. But like the point I'm trying to make is like even if I don't actually think they do, but like no. Yeah.
You're just setting this guy up.
That's not for you. It's not you. It's not you. It's him. I asked him the question intentionally because I'm like, okay, let me hear you talk. And then I was like,
Oh, they know. But
so
for
what would you
I
say
think-
for you
I think,
about
like,
dating apps?
Yeah, I mean, I hear Sean on that, but I think for me is to an extent, right? Like for people to say that they don't like exactly appreciate dating apps, it's kind of saying that like we don't appreciate remote work in some sense, right? Because like you could have like a very fantastic relationship with a coworker and you've never met them in person, just over Slack or Team, and all of that. So I think it's all like a mindset thing. I had this conversation with a couple of friends a while ago, and I think that to be honest, especially like Gen Z and say more, let's say the millennial generation, like we are a lot more conservative than we admit, right, in our approach to things, right? Maybe especially if you're like black, African, Nigerian, like we're still a lot more conservative than we care to admit, right? And so in a lot of ways we still appreciate the very natural way of meeting people. So for example, what he just talked about history, right? It matters more to us than like the West, people in the West, for example, like things like what family are you if you told your mom you met someone, like those are like just some of the little questions that they still ask, right? In as much as we want to say we're very, very progressive and we're not conservative, but like we still care about like family ties, where's the person from and all of that. It still plays a part in how we decide who to be with, right? So in a lot of ways we're still quite conservative. So that's why in a lot of ways dating apps don't appeal much to people. But what I see today is, I think for a lot of people, especially digital natives, right? And I would say Gen Z, I think it will work perfectly for them. Absolutely. Because like, they text more, right? So one of the most annoying thing about dating apps is being online to reply you. Like most guys, most people, right? Both guys or ladies, like most people are generally busy and sometimes conversations fall off and stuff like that. So it's even being online to reply you and all of that. So but there are people who are digital natives and it's more natural for them. And it's we can also talk about the cost saving, right? Because then I don't have to travel. I don't have to go on a date to sit down with you across the table to then know you and then realize I don't want to have anything to do with you and then I have to repeat that over and over again. So it's like there could just be a lot of time, caught in that loop where we could make like decisions faster and less expensive decisions because you could just have a chat, talk more before we even take it off the app and all of that. And then another thing is just the whole thing around security that it also offers you is like before you now willingly share your phone number with someone, right, you're sure it's someone you like, so someone is not stalking you or trying to, and then you have to start blocking and all of that.
Absolutely.
So this guy's on Hinge.
So there is
on Hinge or on Hinge.
So there's all of those benefits that come with dating app, right? But but I think two things for me, right? Especially one is from the perspective of like of being a man, right? Men are more visual, right? So it's a lot easier for you as a guy to get confused on a dating app. Right, like because like everyone is putting up their best pictures, their best angles and all of that. So you go here and then you are like, I mean, Instagram alone. It's not like I look at people, but like Instagram alone, you just
wow. Nobody says
I mean, listen, we don't judge it,
bro. just putting it out there, right? You just the presence of that amount of options. I don't know how healthy that is right, in helping you make a decision at the end of the day. Does that make sense? Like, it's like I just need to swipe a finger and I'm on someone else. Right. So how, I mean, when you meet someone and maybe out of like, a number of people that you've met, they are the man, they are the only they're the most viable option. I think you put in a little bit more effort into trying to make sure that works out. Right. But when you feel like I can swipe and meet the next person, what does that do to the mind? I'm just that's so those are things that I battle with when I try to make an argument for those dating apps, right? What does that do to you? So personally, I've always almost met people very, very like traditionally. I've also met a couple of people off social media, and they end up being like nice people and all of that. So I think it just like Sharon said, there's also I think there's a generational thing to it, right? Where the more digital native generations are likely going to be very, very at home with dating apps, right? Our generation, we're more like in between. So I can understand where people have a lot of personal preferences to meet people one-on-one and all of that. And then if you're someone who maybe that like, hey, I'm very, very visual, right? And I can be confused easily. I think you should know yourself to that extent to say, hey, these apps are not for me, right? Because then I'm just gonna be like in between a lot of people and all of that. So I think you just have to make that decision for yourself. But is it a blessing or a curse? I'd say it's a medium, and people can use it either way. We've had success stories from dating apps, and we've had really, really bad stories from dating apps. I think people just have to decide.
Okay, so the next thing I just want to know now is like, because you did mention it, right? Being a Nigerian man, right? And then you mentioned that history, family history, and all of that. So, how much would you then say how much do family expectations or cultural norms like play into your singleness? Like, once there's some people now you see, you're from this family, okay. Like, because you were talking about like being a Nigerian man. There are certain people like now I know there are families that still.
Did I tell you I'm Nigerian?
Oh, you're not.
Did I tell you I'm Nigerian?
Nah, you tell me. Oh, is it catfish? Is it catfish now?
No, you're right. I'm just kidding.
So, either that or that, But like, how much does that now play into your singleness, right? And what I mean is, I'm talking about your family's expectations of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you come from a family where, you can't get married to someone from a different tribe, right? What is that expectation of you? Or are you in a family where they're telling you, it's not time, you need to focus on this, you need to do this, you need to do that? Like, how much does that play a role into your singleness? It's okay if it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's okay if it doesn't, but it's just how much does that play into you? No one's really thinking.
For me, like, it legit does, because I've met quite a couple of people, right? I've been with someone before who's Arab, right? And I've met quite a number of people, but I would say personally, as a teenager, I used to say I don't care, right? I don't care. I'm just going to do my stuff. That's everyone's business. I'm just going to fall in love and get married and stuff like that. But I think that for me, what happened was the older I got, the more I realized like how every little nuance, right, comes to play when it comes to marriage, right? So I do not just have to think about my marriage with this person, but I have to think about the possible juxtaposition of both families, right? So the more different they are, the more difficult that integration would be. Because I mean, we are a big family, and I'm a big family person, right? I mean, I always grew up like we never had our nuclear family. You always had cousins and people like So I'm a big family person, so I have to think about that. I think about my life as beyond just my partner and I. So when I think about how is my aunt going to interact with this person, like it's a thing, right? Like, can they talk to each other? Can they integrate even our values and being Christian? I was speaking to a wonderful person at the time, but the entirety of her family were Muslim, although she's Christian. And based on the both of us, like it was a really good pair, at least for me mentally. But then I had to think about like what's up with the whole family integration. And I don't know if it happens for every other person, but myself as a guy, I think that when it comes to marriage, like there is already work in marriage. At least from what I hear. You get what I mean? Like there's already work in marriage. So as much as possible, I think you want to lessen the burden for yourself. Right. You don't want to just like make life more and more difficult. Like out of the 10 things or 20 things you have to deal with, can this not be one? Right. If it ends up being that you have, this is who it was, this is who, you ended up finding, and is who you found a home with and love with. I mean, go ahead with it. Like there's nothing. People have done it, and you work. But I think about it like this: if there's a way to lessen the burden, to not have that integration tussle, I'd pick it.
So, what about you?
I mean, like Jeff said some amazing points. You know, like you be lying to yourself. Well, let me not just generalize it, because some people, based on certain scenarios affecting their life, it has to influence them or it cannot influence them, right? But I would say you be lying to yourself if you think like those family social norms don't influence your decision. Because
to start from, you be lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd be lying to yourself if you said you're not influenced by your family, social norms, or culture around you, right? I do understand that there's some people that it can influence them, right? So majority of what Jesse said, like I align with. It's like I'll say this, right? Like there's so many people, so many situations whereby you hear people saying, "Oh, like a Christian family told you don't marry someone of like a different faith," right? The Bible already says it, like, do not be unequally yoked. It's like, no, go give yourself problems. Do you understand? Like, you give yourself problems because, man, like marriage is beyond. That's why I said love is not enough. Like that two people love themselves is not enough for them to marry. Do you understand? Married. Like when you're married, so when you obviously, because we're not dating for fun, like we are at the age whereby we're dating to settle down and marry, right? It's like, so if you're going to date to marry and you're marrying someone, you're not just marrying that person. You're marrying your family. You're marrying their problems. You're marrying like whatever generational thing before them, or whatever it is. Like you're so like you need to understand that. That's why you see some people, their mothers will tell them, don't bring, from a tribal standpoint, I'm not saying that's my family, but from a tribal standpoint, don't bring an Igbo person don't tell me you want to marry an Igbo person. Why? Because they've been influenced by old school Nollywood, whereby the husband will die, they will shave the head, all those practices and stuff, right? Yeah, so like people get involved or get like influenced by that kind of thing, right? And it's so funny because we were talking about that earlier, about we might seem like we're a progressive generation, but we're still conservative, right? Like some people might have been so angry with their parents, because I'll tell you, like, I know people that have ended, like, people have gone through different routes. Like, I mean, two people that love themselves but different faiths, their parents said no, the guy fake change his beliefs to being a Christian, or just for the sake of it, or one forcing it, when I say forcing it, so for me to say, because I know this is a gospel show, like we don't want to promote certain practices, but someone decided to get pregnant just because that's the only chance that their family will accept her get married with someone of a different faith, right? She did that because that was the only way. They were not going to let it slide for anything. And now, like, she's not happy where she is, in that kind of situation. Like, there's this person that I know personally, right? So like, it's just this thing. So like, we would be lying to ourselves if we say these things don't influence you. Like, it don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, yes, the Bible says, when you grow up, you shall leave your father's house, your mother's house, but you're still connected. Do you understand? Yeah. That's why I say, like, loving yourself.
It's interesting because like just this morning, right? There was this I was studying this Bible verse, right, in Genesis, where Abraham made the servant swear, right, to go back to his own people, to go and find a wife for his son Isaac. That's when the servant went to find Rebecca. And I'm very, very curious to ask my pastor, right? We need to talk about, like, does that does this legitimize the whole process of going back to your own people to find a wife, right? Is this a pattern to follow? Because he made him swear. He said, like, put your hands under my thigh. That was the portion of the Bible I was reading this morning, right? And swear to me that my son Isaac will marry from this place where we are. That I think it was in Canaan at the time or something. So you have to go back to my kindred, right, and then get a wife. Yeah, and that was when he went to get Rebecca, the sister of Laban, and stuff like that. So it's just interesting, and I don't know, like in the context of this whole cultural narrative, I don't know if that is like something that supports it. It's like yeah, go, but it could also be something that supports the Christian faith instead. Right, as opposed to tribe and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be tribe alone. That's what, like I was just trying to say, like, so it's different things, right? Like there are some people that in their family they believe that you should not date anyone of a lower class than you, not to sound classist, right? But like, so like if everyone in your family is educated, like you're being with someone that's uneducated, they feel like it's a chance for you not to grow, but. Obviously, there's a fine line with that, so it could be different things. Like it's different things that cause that. And I like that the fact that you mentioned that it's always important to think about family because, like I said, you don't just marry a person; you're marrying into that family. Like, what? Like you need to think about it outside just the two of you. Do you understand? Like you need to think about it just the two of you. Like, in our tradition or in our culture, like whereby your wife puts to bed, the mom comes and like if they don't have like a relationship prior, like. Gracious to some people that I don't have the opportunity to have that, but one person's parent would always come, like if or like an auntie or a family person. Like yes, there are some people that have literally based on how life has turned around, they don't have that opportunity or that grace, which is a different case. But they would always have someone to come in, but you have to always think about that particular factor. So like there is a big influence from like family, from your social norms, from like what you know or what you're used to, right? That influences if you're being single or not. So if I like this person, like, I mean, I like that he mentioned that, like, he had someone that was talking to that he realized that the person's a Christian like him, but the family is a Muslim, is thinking about, like, how does his family relate with that family? It's these are the things that you need to think about. Like, you need to always know, like, it can influence your decision to say, you know what, in fact, let's not even talk about it from, like, a norms thing. Like, there's some family that your folks will tell you, like, some people, like, their folks will tell them, listen, I don't think you should date during this period of your life. This is the period whereby you need to focus and grind. Like when it's time, you would find a wife. Do you understand? But you need to and obviously like the Bible told us to honor our father and our mothers. So our days may be long, and they are the ones that like they are a representation of God on earth. So we need to honor them. We need to listen to them when they speak to us. So like if your dad or your mom is telling you that kind of thing, as a kid, like what do you do? Like you have to like
I could give you a practical example of something to think about, right? So say you get married to someone who's a Christian, but their family is Muslim. Then you have a child. All right, and then it's holidays time, and this holidays the child goes to your parents. Right, and next holiday she says, let your son go to my parent, but the family is a Muslim family. So what do you say? Yeah. So if you say no, there's like you don't want my child, you don't want my parents to spend their some time with their grandchild, but then you know that you don't want your child exposed to this religion. But then that's your wife's family.
Exactly. I mean that's it, and that's why you can't be unequally yoked. But I mean, like, I know you've been asking us this, but I want to know your own thoughts. Like, what do you think about? Like, do you think like your family can influence your decision, to being single or to choosing a partner? Is that the same for you?
Okay, hang on.
You.
Well, if my family can influence, my family can influence my decision on who I get married to. I think it just depends on why they don't want me to get married to the person, right? Everything you've mentioned is valid, religion, all of that. But there are some things that don't necessarily matter to me. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I basically carry my own cross. Do you understand? Like when you say, for example, we spoke about someone being enough for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, I may be from a wealthy background, and then my family says don't get married into that family because they are not from a wealthy background, right? Now, I may choose to overlook. So in some cases, it is valid,
Yeah.
right? And it just depends on their habits. So say, for example, I want a father-in-law that say, like I can trust with finances, for example. So say I want to do something in his location where he's based. I want to be able to partner with my father-in-law. Do you
Yeah.
understand? But if you you don't see beyond I need money, I need money. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
No,
I can't trust you with
100.
such like investment. So I'm saying yes, there are times when things like that do matter, but it just depends on like the family culture. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Or like I'm trying to get stable with my wife, right? It's not every time that I now need to start. There's one joke I always I always make that they now call you and say the wall in their compound is broken.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that was great. That was great. Well done. Well done, Mr. -2. Mr. 5. Well done, well done. I hope they have represented your niche well enough, right? I hope they've represented your niche well enough. They haven't represented my own niche, right? But that's for me to know, and that's for you to find out on another episode of Back by the Word. It's been a great time being with you and being with you as well. I'm finding out a bit more about you. Like, what's your Hinge name? What's your name on Hinge so I can tell them? Cisco.
Can't hear you,
You
man.
can't hear me. You can't hear me. It's been a great time, my bros. It's been a great time. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and share this with someone who needs to see this. I'll remain your favorite host on this podcast. What's my name? Duma Jeff Francis. You already know. So stay tuned. Don't touch that down, and we'll be right back.